Namaskar. The subject of today's discussion is resource utilization. This is a very famous topic for the PROUT and wealth and value system in PROUT. So resource utilization, wealth and value system in PROUT. In Hindi we call it PROUT अर्थव्यवस्था में संसाधनों का उपभोग, संपदा और मूल्य प्रणाली. So this is the subject for today. So in the worldly language, we know the wealth is the abundance of valuable financial assets or physical possessions, which can be converted into a form that can be used for transaction, that we call wealth. And resource, a supply of something, a piece of equipment, something, or for example, we call that some countries rich in mineral resource and all that. So that is the concept at present. So we talk on a physical resource. Anything which can be used to satisfy your needs and is accessible is called a resource. It is feasible and culturally acceptable resource. And as far as value is concerned, we know that consider or rate highly, that is price, esteem, values, your opinion values. And there are some like personal value, we call it. Personal values are your central belief. This principle influence your behavior and personality traits and guide you through success and challenges times. So these kind of values, it is known in society today. And we will be talking of the resource utilization, wealth and value system in PROUT. So what is very special in PROUT, that I will request any one of you to start with. We know that ideology comes from idea, and idea comes from great people. And in human history, few have made and rather shake the whole world because of their ideas. An idea have convinced people to think in the same way, and society have made that as a philosophy of living. Some people think that life is all about consumerism, which we are today, all about eat, drink, and make merry, which is very common, and then further going to the crisis and managing the crisis, and that is the life today. I will request Priyatoshanand Dadaji to talk on the subject to start with. Dada Priyatoshanand, are you able to hear me? Then unmute yourself. Okay, by the time, can I ask Reddy ji, Surendra Reddy ji, to speak on the subject?
Namaskar, Dada. Namaskar.
Namaskar, namaskar.
Oh, please. Dada, there are three words have been used in your title of the discussion today. One is basically we want to understand what are the resources and utilization. Resources utilization.
Value and wealth, yes.
Yeah. So then I would like to say our view of resources is very unique compared to any other economic theory in the world today. It is based on spirituality, the spiritual outlook. And today, you can say all the economic theories today are based on proprietarianism. What is called proprietor? I mean, who is the proprietor? Owner. Proprietarianism. See, some people say proprietarianism about the private individuals. They say by accepting the proprietarianism of individuals or private people, and the self-interest itself will be the basis for the economic growth. By self-interest, he will also be doing the common interest. That is the theory of Adam Smith. Adam Smith believed that the interest of the self is a very positive ambition of individuals, is very positive energy ultimately for the benefit of society. And he said that when individuals by the selfishness would create goods and services They also, at the same time, enrich the society. They call it trickle-down theory. So it trickles down. The prosperity trickles down to the ground level of the society. That's what he believed. And that has been proved to be wrong. Then they came the reaction, where they said the proprietarianism is about the, what do you call, the public sector ownership. That the government owns on behalf of the other. Is the agent of the community or society, and for the benefit of society, the control of economic resources will be in the control of the centralized government or something agents. The communal or community ownership. So this is the proprietarianism of the public sector, private sector, the hybrid sector, where hybrid formulas have been. Ultimately, the whole debate goes on around the concept of who owns, who controls, who owns. Control. Baba goes outside this whole drama, or outside this futile and also kind of a totally unproductive kind of exercise of proprietarianism, and says that it's not about the ownership. It's about who owns it. Nobody created these panchabhutas. Nobody created this universe. All these resources are there in the world. He said it's a cosmic inheritance. A cosmic inheritance of whom? It is a cosmic inheritance of the entire society. Not only society, see the whole bio system or biosphere where all the species live, plants, animals, human beings, all, see, they have a right over that. So the cosmic inheritance, so the concept is against, as against the proprietarianism. What is the thing is that we believe in the cosmic inheritance. So means every has got a right over the cosmic inheritance. So this is the unique thing about the concept of ownership. Who owns it? It is a cosmic ownership. And secondly, it comes from that, deriving from that, is the utilization. But in between that, again, there is another lacuna of all the economic theories. That is, what is the concept of resources? The resources, basically, the capitalism or all these economists could only, was what could be measured, could be physically measured kind of stuff. See, physical growth, economic growth, GDP, everything was based on the. But Baba has said that it is not only the physical resources, it is called mental resources. There are spiritual resources are there. So he has extended the concept. He has expanded the concept of resources. Here he said the resources are not only physical, but also mental and also spiritual. Because for the total development of human nature or human being, all the three are required. We require physical food and mental food and also spiritual food. They call it pabulum. This is a spiritual pabulum, mental pabulum, and also physical pabulum. So it's not only by human beings survive, not only based on physical food or physical pabulum, they also require mental pabulum as well as the spiritual pabulum. So see, that is the way where the whole the ideologies of capitalism and communism have reduced human beings to a kind of animals or beasts. That is, they have not considered him as a human being. They have only considered him as some consumer, which only requires some physical goods. And when you give physical goods and services provided by whatever mechanism of private ownership or public ownership, so they thought that's the end of the story. But Anmark and also PROUT believe that resources are the hunger of human beings is not only physical but also spiritual and as well as mental. So Baba takes care of not only economy, physical resources, but also the mental resources as well as the spiritual resources of human society, and they should be properly, what you call, tended, cultivated, uh, culturally, civilizationally, by through yoga, sadhana, tantra, all these things. So this only makes human beings more. So there is the expansion of the concept of ownership. Ownership is cosmic, and resources are not only physical but also mental and spiritual. So these two differentiate the PROUT theory from other economic theories. And we come to what is the third concept you wanted to us to discuss about? Resources utilization and
Yeah, the topic was the four points were there. That is basically
resources utilization and
wealth, value,
system in fraud.
and resource.
So flowing out of these two concepts, revolutionary concepts of cosmic inheritance and the definition of resources, we come to we have a different value system. The value system is neo-humanistic value system, where we feel that every what you call the whole universe is nothing but the projection of common progenitor, that is so macrocosm is a part of the macrocosm. So there every atom and molecule in the universe is part of the Param Purusha. So this is where now the whole value system arises of fraternity of humans, fraternity of all living beings on earth. It cannot be any distinction. So the value system again comes. What is neo-humanism? Neo-humanism is not discrimination, non-discriminational. See, we cannot discriminate against human beings, based on many external features of diversity, which is natural. So that's the essential unity of humanity, essential oneness of humanity, indivisible. Humanity is indivisible. Then, so when they are indivisible and they have equal rights, as the cosmic is inheritance is cosmic, so everybody has got equal rights over the resources of the universe. And so we have to design our economy proud. We have to design. What is the design of economy? The design of economy is predicated, that is based or predicated. The whole logic is on giving equal opportunity to all human beings on earth, all living beings on earth. So equal opportunity is possible only by equal opportunity legislation. What is the ultimate thing of the legislation? Constitution. See, every society, every country has got what called a fundamental document called Constitution. In the Constitution, you have to guarantee the rights of all human beings, that minimum necessities are provided to every individual, and this people's economy. Then the opportunity for growing in the subtler sphere of intellectually as well as in the spiritual. So the design of society, the design of socio-economic affairs must be to give every individual the minimum necessities and then give him opportunity to cultivate his mind, his soul. This is the value system of PROUT.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You rightly said that we are in PROUT, there is a different resources, that is physical, mental, and spiritual. Okay, so I'll start with the sloka which is there in PROUT. The sthula suchma karanesu charmopayoga. Baba कहते हैं the maximum utilization of the resource you already have explained, but basically resources are of two kinds according to us. One is a natural resource, another is a human resource. I mean individual resource. So he says that sthul suchma karani. So sthul means mundane world, for example, then crude world, and the such means supramundane. For example, I mean you can, and then comes the causal. So causal part we can equate with the microvita, and so he says that the wealth and resources available in the crude form, in subtle form, and in causal world should be developed for the welfare of all. Means it can be developed only when the people are educated in all three spheres of life. And all resources hidden in quintuple world, solid, liquid, luminous, aerial, and ethereal, should be fully utilized. And the endeavor to do this will ensure the maximum development of the universe. People will have to earnestly explore land, sea, and space to discover, extract, process the raw materials needed for their requirements. And there has to be the rational distribution, that is what he is talking, and of the wealth of humanity. In other words, the people must be guaranteed the minimum requirements, as you told. In addition, the requirements of meritorious people, that also has to be taken care. That is the fundamental difference between PROUT's approach. But at the same time, the minimum requirements for everyone must be guaranteed. So this is the way of utilization, which is different than what it is existing today. So anyone else, again from the previous classes, that today the system is basically, if you go to the our spiritual technicalities, you know that today how much we get enjoyment from this material world to satisfy your five senses, that is sensory organs, is the achievement. And that is the very basal line of mental plate, that is the Kamamaya Kosha. That is what was we learned about our classes. And for enjoyment, we use only five senses, that is motory and sensory organs, for enjoying the environment, dominating and consuming the environment for your own gratification, for selfish interest. So that is the selfish approach to life, which is persisting today. We call it, Baba call it a word, Atma Sukha Tattva. That is self-centered approach to life. Therefore, it is all in a very narrow sense. So the value comes from the kind of philosophy we are in. So today we are in a capitalistic philosophy, that is self-centered philosophy we are living in. So the values are, for example, there are many philosophies like material-centered, matter-centered philosophy, self-centered, dogma-centered, and God-centered philosophy, which we propose as a Proutist. So matter-centered philosophy is purely a Kamamaya Kosha philosophy, and self-centered philosophy is a Kamamaya plus Manomaya Kosha, because they think also, they do the analysis, at least they apply their mind. And dogma-centered philosophy is little bit of Ati Manas Kosha also, because they think of spirituality. Some of them go to touch that level. But God-centered philosophy means knowledge about life, knowledge about everything. And this mostly coming in addition to the first three, which is required for the survival, in coming from Atimanash, Vijnanamaya and Hiranamaya Kosha. That is what we are different at. And what is wealth? Wealth is for secured living and supply of existential and enjoyable material. Whatever you enjoy must and cherish according to the philosophy of your life and what it is today, we know. So you would like to see that those material are always available based on our philosophy of life. So those material is we call resources. For example, if there is a pen, the pen has a value for students, writers, artists, poets, but certainly it is not that valuable for a warrior. So here the value differs. So it depends on the approach to the life, philosophy of life we are living. So people start looking for resources to start getting wealth accordingly. And हम लोग कहते भी हैं that अनुकूल वेदनीय, and for comfortable and joyful and happier life, we find those resources. And we say that anukul vedaniyam sikham. When things are according to our desire, we feel good, we feel a pleasure. We call it, we are in a sukha. So when many move on that very philosophy of life, it becomes collective or social philosophy, and it becomes ideological path to that very society. So presently, today in global dominance is of material wealth. So material wealth centered, everything is there. Even if you find, we study a lot, but ultimately we give value to the money because of the philosophy today. And so every education we convert in money because it's a requirement. In every activity today, we are aiming as how much money we are going to get. So he gave an example of Vivekananda and Subhash Chandra Bose that Swami Vivekananda, in spite of so much educated, he chose the path of renunciate. And another example is Subhash Chandra Bose. In spite of that kind of service he was getting, that time it was a very prominent service, that is ICS, and he refused to join. So you can think of philosophy of life that youth or we carry today. So there is a difference. So my sister Anubhuti has raised hands. I'll request her to speak, please. Unmute and speak, Anubhuti ji. Thank you.
Yes, Dada, namaskar. Namaskar,
Namaskar.
everyone. So, as the topic says that, just a minute. So the topic is like resource utilization, wealth, and value system in PROUT.
Right.
So, as per my understanding, the current scenario is that that resources are only considered to be. So, I was saying that resources are only considered to be material wealth. But in PROUT system, an individual is also considered to be a potential resource.
Yeah.
And this is the difference in the ideology of PROUT with other ideologies. In other systems, a human is just meant for consumption of material goods. But in Proutistic view, an individual is the unit of the collective society, and hence a lot of emphasis has been paid on the development of the unit being, not just
Individual.
yeah. So individual development has been paid attention to in Proutistic view. And when we talk about the resource utilization, so resource utilization is only possible when we have a s- when we have skilled human resources in terms of skilling, not only in terms of the skill set that they possess, but also in terms of the mindset that they have. So by mindset, I mean to say that if we consider things to be of cosmic belonging, our attitude towards working will be very different. And when we consider it to be an individual ownership, our attitude will be very different. So I think the seed of this thing is sown in the very beginning, in the childhood of a person, and this one continues in his or her lifetime. But when like once a person has attained a certain age, these things cannot be taught,
Yeah.
because I have seen in my workplace that those who are sensitized and sensitive enough, their work style is very different, and those who are not sensitized and sensitive, so their work style is very different. So for them, the basic aim is only to earn money, but those who are sensitized, so they pay attention to the surroundings as well. So that makes a lot of difference to the individual and to the society as well.
Absolutely. You rightly said that if you want to change, it has to start with the primary school. That is why the Ananda Marga believes to open more primary schools. It's a Baba words that formative age, the very basic education of morality has to be inculcated in personality at the formative age, that is a kindergarten and primary school age, you rightly said. So from there, this tenderness starts developing in people. Otherwise, the kind of education we are exposed to, we will be thinking only of material enjoyment. And you rightly said, and then only the mindset can be created for the future mindset according to the proud living, lifestyle of living. And you rightly said the proud has a different approach regarding resources. You rightly said that human resources are very prominent, but unless that human is developed in that kind of resource, that his physical resource has its own limitations, but mental resources can be developed. Even spiritual resource can be developed, and whosoever excel can be utilized accordingly. Ownership issue today, that if one purchase a land, he thinks that he is the owner of that land. So that is very special thing in PROUT. That is a cosmic inheritance. There is no individual inheritance. We have only right to explore and utilize it together for our welfare. But ownership is not there for any individual ownership. So that is a very fundamental difference. And resources, as we discussed, that there are natural resources like solid, liquid, and there are CUDA resources and the causal resources, the microbiota, tanmatras, those things are still not in use. So this is infinite exploration chances are there, possibilities there, and here PROUT differs. I'll request Surendra Dada, you have raised hands. Surendra Dada ji.
I have to unmute myself. Okay.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
you are able to hear me, right?
Yes, very much. Thank you.
Very much. See, I wanted to focus again on the point of utilization also, which is very, very unique in terms of on the mark. And also you must remember, Baba calls it our theory, utilization theory. And
Yeah.
then he goes on to qualify it, saying that it is progressive utilization theory. So we are about utilization. It's about ownership aspect is secondary. Ownership aspect is secondary. In fact, ownership should be, society allows ownership so that it is optimizes utilization. Ownership conditional to utilization. For example, there is a person who is a blind person. He owns a library with 1 lakh books. What is the use? So what I'm saying is that the utilization is very important. For example, somebody has got fertile land of 10 acres, but he doesn't cultivate it, he keeps it idle. It is some kind of a malpractice, or rather you can say it is something which is socially not right for somebody to not to utilize fertile land, because when people are hungry and all that. Okay. So when people are going hungry and you keep the fertile land, uncultivated, that's wrong. So this is the approach that we have. And so ownership is secondary, but utilization is priority. And so our ownership pattern, whether private ownership, cooperative ownership, public ownership, local control, what Baba says, there are so many steps he has given, three-tier economy, key industries. Why all the whole design of our economy is centers around how we can utilize organize in such a way so as to utilize our resources to the optimally and also distribute it optimally. So that is the idea behind our economy. Now we come to the point, that is, Baba says when concentration of resources or wealth occurs, what happens? When concentration of resources and wealth occurs, first thing is there is a staticity. That is, the utilization will be not minimal. You cannot, for example, if I have got a salary of 10,000, 15,000, I utilize it in a very systematically, precisely, and all those things. If I have got 1 lakh and my requirement is only 10,000, then what happens to the remaining? It remains idle. So there is a lot of idle wealth around the world today. There is a lot of, because of the concentration, this is called concentration of wealth. When the resources and wealth are concentrated in the hands of few people, what happens is that there's staticity. Here is a word Baba uses about staticity. There is a static, that means the whole economy becomes, velocity is not there. Staticity and velocity, let us say,
Dynamism
these are
is
two
not
words.
there.
So there is no movement. Money is no, again another word he uses, you should keep the money rolling. See, what he means by money rolling is that keep the assets and resources utilized, are in functional, are in live, and they are performing. So there are performing resources, non-performing resources. See, when the concentration of resources happens in the hands of few people, the degree of non-performance increases, while people also are going hungry, are going poverty and all that. So this is the point with regard to utilization. Then account comes about second aspect, that is proper or progressive utilization. What is progressive utilization? So for both the points, that is how utilization should be optimal. At the same time, it should be progressive. I'll give one example.
Mhm.
There is a country, Brazil is there. Brazil has got a very big land. See, they've got a lot of fertile land or whatever. So in there, 40,000 square kilometers of land is in the hands of 4 companies. Please, I think it is sinking into our minds or not. 40,000 square kilometers of land, fertile land, is in the hands of 4 companies.
Hmm.
See, Bradesco Bank Group, Antunes Cameo Financial Group, then Manasa Cifec Group, like that. There are about 3 or 4 groups. So what happens is, why are these people holding these 40,000 square kilometers? Because they are converted that 40,000 square kilometers into beef, for the production of beef, the rearing of animals. The animals are reared in these 40,000 kilometers, and those animals, after they get fattened up, are matured, and they are shipped to the company's headquarters or company where they are corporate क्या बोलते हैं उसको killing machine, a killing company or killing factory. So where animals are killed in a very mechanical way, and they are made to pieces, and they go to the tables of Americans, the rich Americans or whatever. Now you see, the people required for tilling 40,000 square kilometers, rearing these animals, are very minimal. Very few employees are used in these 40,000 kilometers of land, square kilometers of land. Very few employees are used. So no employment. And in Brazil, there are millions of workers, millions of people who are without employment, without work. They have no land for cultivation. Their poverty is there. But so here, there are 2 aspects emerge in this. One is the concentration of these 40,000 square kilometers in the hands of few people. The utilization is minimal. Second aspect, it is no progressive utilization. That is, being utilized for beef, what is the production of beef, while people are dying of hunger and malnutrition in Brazil, the very country to which that land belongs. So this is a naked picture of capitalism, which does not, it only believes in ownership by the private corporates. And PROUT believes in utilization of, for example, this land, that too again properly in the sense it should be utilized for food production, normal food production instead of only beef. So these 2 things, that is underutilization of resources and also misutilization of resources, is both reflected in this particular example.
Right, Dada.
And this is happening all over the world.
We will be hearing Mr. Manish Dada. Manish Dada, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, namaskar, Rajendra Dada. Namaskar, everyone. Namaskar. Such a nice topic. It's a wonderful topic. I thought I will share some of my views as well.
Sure, Dada.
This is such a beautiful concept that Baba has given, such a new idea, a new paradigm in terms of, the utilization model. I feel it's a very futuristic vision. What has happened in the last 40, 50 years is that, we have seen, industrialization and then mindless industrialization, focusing just on, the material aspects of, human beings, how materially human beings can grow. But, what we have done to the planet has been completely kind of ignored. So if we look at it, the planet is ravaged right now. The world today is such a complex place to live in. You may be living in a certain city or a country, but your food may be coming from some other country instead of the locally produced food. So I think the way the industrialization, globalization has happened, it seems to me that it has ignored very, very critical factors. And today the situation is such that, and today and even in the near future, the situation will be that human beings will have to kind of go back and then look at, what they have done to the planet, and then, look at the ownership model and the utilization which Baba has given. So I feel it will be an imperative to kind of, go back to that new model. But I also wanted to raise, like, some questions on, why is like wealth and ownership such an important thing today? So, because if we see in the current system that we have in the world, there is no guarantee, there is no security of living. So, it's a cutthroat world. What you have today may suddenly go tomorrow. So you may be on your own, you may not have people to support you. So I think there is a great insecurity, in all of the human beings, in all of us. And hence this tendency to kind of acquire more, as if we will be securing our future, because once we acquire this material wealth, our future will be secured. So that is one point why ownership and wealth is important right now, because of the model in which we are in. And also, the second point is the fulfillment of life. It is certainly more of a Western concept, maybe in India as well. I feel that, people feel that the more, material goods that they have, the more money that they have, they will get more fulfillment in life as well. But, so that is another, experimentation, I would say. They haven't, the world hasn't moved, and maybe it is right now moving a little bit towards the subtler aspects of life, yoga, meditation. Of course, in the last several years, that has been gaining a lot of pace because of its the reasons of, uh, this complex world that we are in, with more and more, mental health issues that are coming in, with social media, mental health. So I think what I'm trying to say is that
Yeah.
the current situation will force human beings to accept these new ideas which Baba has given.
Yes.
So if we see, we have been forced, I mean, to accept, a lot of people are doing yoga and meditation these days. 10-15 years back, when I started meditating myself, a lot of the people just didn't understand, and they didn't appreciate, how important this was. But those same people are kind of, looking for different ways to start meditation. So I think the world is being forced into moving into this new model we are seeing with, yoga and meditation. But the utilization piece as well, I think it will be, accepted because of the current situation that in which we are in, and also the guarantees that PROUT gives. If I may give an example, a small child is born, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. They don't think about, earning money or, insecurity. They know that their life is secure. Their parents will take care of them. So what if, every human being in this world thinks the same way, and that hopefully will happen, that, oh, we don't have to worry about money because our life is secure. Then, obviously the concept of ownership and acquisition will suddenly go away. And PROUT, it kind of guarantees, that through the constitution. I think Surendra Dada also said that. And
Yeah.
also, the metaphysics of PROUT, stating that, the cosmic father is the father, nature is our mother, and entire universe is our common patrimony. So I think some of these concepts will come in the future for sure, because of, the mindless development that has happened. We have ignored our planet, but also because of, some of the new ideas which are already being accepted based on, how the world is right now. I'd just like to touch one last point,
Yeah.
Rajendra, and which is that, we also have to look at where does PROUT stand on ownership? Because if we say, only utilization, and then, what will happen to ownership itself? So because it is kind of difficult to imagine right now that, that human beings in their minds will not think of ownership at all. uh, but even though if they are guaranteed the minimum requirements through the constitution. So suppose, if I may take an example of, Elon Musk. So if we look at, a person like Elon Musk, he is trying to solve the problems of the future. So he's launched some satellites. He wants to see if there is life on other planets, which is in fact what Baba has said, and if I have read it right, that in the future, even if human beings have to leave the planet Earth, we may go to another planet. So we are already seeing some people like him are doing such work. But the question arises is that with the PROUT model, which is kind of uh, uh, not I wouldn't say restrict, but kind of tries to control how much acquisition one can do. So will the potential of someone like these people will be utilized? And that's what I think it came about, that it's not just the material utilization of everything, but all the mental potential. So someone like Elon Musk, if he wants to continue doing all these projects in the PROUT system, he will be allowed to, because that's his potential. All the resources will be provided to him, so that he can continue to solve those challenges for humanity. But of course, the ownership is obviously a different topic. I feel that most of the people like him and other rishis, they get motivated by solving problems for society, and not necessarily kind of the owning and kind of uh, kind of acquiring all these material resources. So I feel I would like to just end by saying that yes, it is a futuristic vision by Baba, but if we kind of see it through, we are seeing that there is no other option for this world but to kind of come to that model, and then we are already seeing it happen slowly. Thank you, Dada.
Absolutely,
Namaskar.
Manishji. Thank you very much. And for that, you rightly said, unless there is a need, the people will not adopt. So that need is bound to be there. We can see that, we can sense that need. So may I request Surendra Reddy ji to speak? Your hand is raised.
दादा मनीष दादा ने बहुत वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट एक एग्जांपल दिया है कि when there is a sense of security, when there is a insecurity, when it is removed from minds, there will be a total transformation.
Absolutely.
For example, and for that he has given a very live example of a very beautiful example of children, when the children up to 10 years, 8 to 10 years, when there is no sense of feeling of something, feel very secure in their house and family. Okay, there are, but basically, you see, it also reflects. If that kind of psychology can be induced into every citizen on earth, I think that will be a paradise or heaven on earth. Actually.
Yeah.
So, but this is possible because
for ownership, you rightly said, yes.
Yeah, it is secondary. Now, it does not. One more thing. See, even birds do accumulate food in their nest because for the rainy day, for its what you call to feed its what you call this thing, other eggs and all this, maintain the eggs and deliver. So what I'm saying, broods and all that. So it doesn't mean but we do it as per necessity and what is required. We don't aparigraha. Concept of aparigraha is there. Yes, but we do need aparigraha is something not going beyond the requirement. One thing. Second point is this. Baba says that this accumulation of wealth, obsessive accumulation of wealth, and the society giving a big premium on that kind of psychology is a kind of a mental disease. We have, he says, capitalists are suffering from mental disease. Because those who feel that only by are they using them? They don't use them. It is something like this. They feel the pleasure in ownership, but not in pleasure. They don't have the pleasure in utilizing it. People go, they starve themselves and go on accumulating money. That kind of psychology has also come. See, okay, it might be driven by one, as you said, a sense of insecurity. But also it's also driven by another thing that is called a psychic disorder.
Disease, you can say, yeah.
Right. Yeah, psychic disorder. Baba said, the capitalists suffer from this. And many more people. You see how many pants you can wear. You can only wear one pant a day, isn't it? At any point of time. Or one shirt. You cannot wear 10 shirts. But the way the people go on, see, there was, the people go on accumulating things, accumulating consumption, all this. One house, not good enough, 10 houses, 20 houses, like that. See, there is a unending kind of, so
Slowly
basically,
they enter into a disease. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, I'd like to just add here that Baba has a lecture called The Three Causes of Sin.
Mm-hmm.
He has a discourse, and in that he says that both the shortage of physical resources, which is the poor people, that causes sin, because if there is lack of physical necessities, people are not able to follow the higher pursuits in life. But the second cause is the
Excessive wealth.
excessive wealth and an over accumulated resources. That is also a mental disease and a cause of sin, in fact. That is what Baba is saying.
yes,
Yes.
she is very clear. See, PROUT is very clear as to its priorities. In fact, the subject that has been chosen for discussion today is important for all Proutists and Marxists, because they should understand that our ideology entirely stands on a different footing, a different basis, different value system. Our value system, which we believe in, is different, and the value system on which the current world is running is different. So it's not a normal.
Baseline value system is the baseline. You rightly said that.
Yeah. So ours is basically a very totally revolutionary, what do you call, outlook and concept, and also it is not reactionary. It is not a reaction, but it is an attempt to satisfy the
Response.
totality of
Yeah.
human nature.
Mhm.
It is
So,
a,
Dada, let us hear Anubhuti Didi. She has raised hands. Anubhuti, please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Dada, as far as insecurity is concerned, the insecurity in life is not for an individual, but it is for their offsprings. So the parents are more concerned about what will happen to my child. So so in the entire duration of their family life, they don't enjoy life themselves, but they keep on saving for their wards. But when in the education system there would be a guarantee of employment, or like skill set mapping would be done, this insecurity will vanish automatically.
Yes.
So everyone will will live with this security that their life is secured and life of their children is also secured. And so this is something I wanted to add. It's not just for ourselves, it's for the children that we are
Yeah,
raising,
people are in
that
stress or insecure. Yeah. You rightly said, Didi. And that is why provision is there. Probably the first or the second, that constitutionally it should be guaranteed, and the administration or the government must be working for that on top priority. So then slowly people will, as it was being mentioned, that once people are fearless, I mean, there is no sense of insecurity, then people will be more open and they will take bigger responsibility, and probably they will have a time also to expand in mental and spiritual sphere, and then it will be easy for our dream of PROUT. Anything more, Didi, you want to say, Anubhuti Didi?
That is just an extension to what Surinder Dada said.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree to all the points and very rightly said. But one thing I just want to clarify, that you said that if a blind person is given so many books, so he cannot read. But nowadays we have this technology that they can also read through the books. So like maybe I'm just saying it because maybe
he was adding a proverb, yes.
some non-sighted person might come here and we will be passing such comments. So just an extension.
But addition to that, it has given another topic that in PROUT there is a provision for, we call the disabled people. There is a provision, even which is very rare things. May I
Dada?
request Dada Madhusudhan Dada is there. He's such a knowledgeable person in PROUT. Madhusudhan Dada, if you are hearing, can you highlight something on the subject today? Madhusudhan Da, yes, thank you.
Yes. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Well, there's not much to add to what everybody said, but the interesting thing we see in the United States, they talk a lot about wealth, but average person doesn't own anything anymore anyway. If you have a house, you don't own the house, you have the house as mortgaged, and so the mortgage company actually owns the house. If you have a car, you've got a loan on the car, so the car loan company owns the car. You don't actually own anything anymore. And somebody once said, maybe you own one window of your house and you own maybe the ashtray in your car. So ownership is really an exploitative thing. It's a way that the capitalist class can manipulate the rest of the society, and they make people run after ownership, and it's actually a false, a false desire, because there's really no such thing. Unless you're either well, actually Karl Marx said it, you're either an exploiter or an exploited, and that's what happens in the final stages of the Weissman society. But as we know, with what Baba has taught us, that society has four varnas, not one or two, and so there is defect in the Marxian analysis due to improper psychology. But the whole idea of ownership is really a psychological trap. And once people are able to get over that trap, it opens up so many opportunities, and that's where PROUT comes. The one thing I like to say, and really not said very much, is that PROUT is what is called a post-scarcity economy. And we have been in this post-scarcity economy since, I would say, around the 1950s or so, which is when we had enough resources through technological development to really provide the basic necessities for everybody in the world. The problem is that due to politics, we don't have that proper distribution. But that's what really makes PROUT possible, that capitalism is a pre-scarcity or a scarcity system. Even communism is based on scarcity. That is, it presupposes that some people won't get enough and other people will get enough or more. And so it's a system to decide who gets what and who doesn't get. Well, in PROUT, since we're a post-scarcity economy, we don't decide who gets what and who doesn't get, because everybody gets. And so the whole system gets turned on its head. And so also the concept of ownership does. And also from a spiritual point of view, as Baba has said, Parama-Purusha owns everything. And if we think that we own, it brings attachment to material things and actually is bad for your sadhana. In fact, even in the system of donation, and I've seen this in different countries, psychology is different. If you give money to Ananda Marga as a donation, you have to give up the ownership of that money too.
Yeah.
And I've seen in Western countries, people will give money to different organizations, but they still maintain the ownership of that donation. They say, well, I want to know where this money's going, and I want to be controlling how this money is used and this and that. That's not really a contribution. That's not a surrender. It's not a service. It's not a sacrifice, because you're trying to maintain psychological ownership. So this whole concept of ownership really is much more than physical. It's psychological. It's even spiritual. Thank you.
So nice, Dada. You have opened a very different area. You have enlightened us. Ownership is a really psychological trap. Yeah, absolutely.
I just wanted to caution about one thing about this.
Yeah.
See, we are entering an era of intellectual, what do you call? Artificial intelligence, sorry, AI.
You're right.
Now, the AI mantra is overtaking. So what is going to happen is that in future, jobs are not going to be created. People are not going to have jobs, and wealth, prosperity will be there, but it will be created without the involvement of people as employees. So it's called jobless growth. What we are entering is a period of jobless growth. There will be growth, will be there, but without jobs. So this is what is going to happen with artificial intelligence, because it is going to enter every arena of society: education, healthcare, transport, energy. So several factors. So all these going to no. Here also, I would like to say, PROUT is a theory, economic theory of abundance and leisure. It is a futuristic economy. It is going. It also, you see, it says that when you give what you call a guarantee of minimum necessities, actually, when without people are without fear about what you call their security of minimum necessities or anything, they actually the volunteerism will develop. In fact, future economy is going to be volunteerism. See, work will be voluntary. Their work volunteerism will grow. People will try to do work, try to work or take up the work which they like, rather than look at it as a what you call just making money project. No. So here, once they are guaranteed minimum necessities and in their insecurity is not there, they would love to do the work that they love, or rather work they like, something like that. So, and also there is no work in the first place. Work is not being generated. Prosperity is being generated. Wealth is being generated. Goods are being generated. Services are being generated, but individuals will not get any jobs. People will not get. So future lies with, that's the reason why many advanced countries are talking about universal basic income, UBI. That is, they want to assure every individual, whether he works or not, whether he is a productive member of society or not, they will say these minimum necessities or purchasing capacity is being given by way of course, that concept has to be tweaked. We cannot, because we believe that our idea of concept is little different from that, but still, lying behind it is that the same thing, that is giving people an safety net. There is another word called safety net. They want to give every individual on society a safety net. That safety net is guaranteed by society. The safety net is guaranteed by the government. Safety net is guaranteed by the law. Safety net is guaranteed by the constitution. So once that you are assured of the safety net, say your education, you are going to get free, your health care is going to be taken care of, and your minimum necessities are being guaranteed, then what happens? You will have a transformation in your thinking and outlook. You will be a different person. There will be different generation, a different, what do you call, psychology, collective psychology. Even the collective psychology will undergo a great change once this is guaranteed. So we have to look at the future. The future is jobless. Future is we are not going to have any work. So in fact, I would like to share with all people. I have wrote an article long back, Workless World's Tantra Culture. So 21st century is going to be the culture of Tantra. And it is going to be also a world without work.
Ji Dada. So,
okay, I'll share the link in this group. Maybe people are interested, you can read it.
Yeah, you share.
Workless World's Tantra Culture.
Thank you. Anubhuti, do you want to say something?
Yes, Dada,
Please.
like this concept of unique basic income, it's a good initiative, but without engagement of the individual, so money is not only one thing that is going to solve all the problem. Talent has to be utilized somewhere. So this system will fail in another 10-20 years, because जब तक utilization नहीं होगा mind का, तो ideal thinking से भी तो what is the productive use of that person in the society? And nobody in the society is unproductive. It is the system that is making the people unproductive.
Last year, it was very clearly declared, practice. But how many of us really know that we are ready for practice? There are systems that we already have, and what we have to do. Let us not look at the outside population, because they are not ready for it. But at least what we have, to the least extent of food, of clothing, shelter, medicine, education, to that extent, can't this population which we already have a cooperation? Why do we have to wait for a government to bring into this? We as a model, we should evolve ourselves a model that to work to that extent. I would say at least in the system of education, at least to the extent of Paravidya, we should be aware, like exactly what Anubhuti Didi was saying, that if we children know what to expect, we would not be misled. And then what to be expected of children, if the parents know, the parent will not mislead the children. And at least to that extent, and we have the children ready for what to expect in, like as you said, with the technology growing, they should not be in the very same phase where they will work, and they will not know what humanity is. Actually, it will only eat on them. So not leaving them into that and bringing them into at least the market, it will make a lot of difference. Because today, they're just small children, and they are telling what to do. We are talking big words. They are telling in a very simple. I'll just tell you an example. This girl she's just about 14 years, and she said, if all of us could work together, then there could be maximum utilization. Mm-hmm. She said it in her own language. So it is not ununderstandable for them. They are smart to pick it up. Only thing is, they are not given the right inputs because they are already preoccupied with what they are stuffed up. So it is necessary. And thing is, the children say very, like when we said about the concept of cosmic father, nature is the mother. They were so delighted. Yeah. It is not that they're so delighted about the whole thing. So I just took it as a test today, just to make them, you are practicing, feel what it is about. Yes. So it is, we should take our time to get to our children, see to it that they have this knowledge. We don't have to wait for change in the education system. We can have a supplemental system. Mm-hmm. At least to our Magi children, at least to one-day class on a Sunday. Give them the knowledge. They're like a Sunday class which other everything do. They are putting in their own way. Why don't we have it? Give it to our children, give it to the parents, and the parents and children are in the same plane. Right. Let our population evolve, and in respect of cooperative, I just opened up that topic to them, and before I started this, I just opened up and said, will you be ready if you can all work together? The girl was asking, can I bring my friends? Right, Didi. So it is, they are already, we have a upcoming generation, that is which is there, yes, very naive. Right, Didi. Yeah, they're so sprouting. So at this point of time, let us give it. Thank you. Acharya Krishnananda, kindly speak. Thank you.
Okay, namaskar. Namaskar to everyone.
Namaskar, Dada.
As the work is workship, and Baba has defined us about the action, about the karma. And Tulsi Das also supported, and Baba has also supported, I think, same line. Vishwa karma pradhan kari rakha, that actions, it is action that makes a man great. So I think the karma will not be go down, it will not go down, but may the mode of the action can change according to time, place, and person. Because as Baba has defined in that quote, it is action that makes a man great. Be great by your sadhana, service, and sacrifice. Yes, so Baba has changed the mode of the action. Action always we have to perform, and action will always remain. because the PROUT always has supported the help of the science and technology. With the help of science and technology, we can accelerate the work and save the time, and that time we have to utilize for that spiritual practice and the practicing science and art and literature. So action will be there always, and as long as this humanity is there on this earth or either on other planet, action will be there. So may that people now they are, as Dada Surendra Dada was telling, that extra intelligence and all these things will be there. It will be helpful for the. It will be helpful for us. So that coming generation already now physical work is becoming less, and they are working on the technology. So I think according to that, it will be actions. I would
Yes,
like to say this.
So that action is the benevolent action. Yes.
Yeah.
For the good. I will request someone to speak on the value system. We did not speak. We have only a few minutes. So we have two values, existential and utility value. Someone can highlight this part.
See, ours is based on neo-humanism.
Yeah.
Neo-humanism means love and compassion.
Yes.
That is our value system. We don't hate anybody. That is our value system.
Okay.
Because neo-humanism is the value.
That is true. So neo-humanism, if you want to explain, today we give value to the utility value more than existential value. And here Baba is speaking about two kinds of values, existential as well as utility value. And for us, we have to measure both in individual. Today, when a person is retired, I mean, literally, because when a person is not earning, his values almost becomes zero in society. So here we give additional value to the existential value because of our background of neo-humanism, you rightly said. So here again, PROUT differs than present system, which gives value only to the utility and not to the existential value.
Yes, correct, Dada. Your definition is right.
Yes. So in future, we expect that human sentiment maximizes, as you wrote, that is the purpose of the neo-humanism. So here, a system will be created in a society with each individual that is inclusive, existential and utility values together. For example, I am quoting from the last class of PROUT that when a person goes with a card, for example, today we go by Aadhaar card. Similarly, the people will move with a card, their individual details. There will also be their existential value, that what you were in past. I mean, so that people can know about your experience, your potential, you can be utilized. That is why in PROUT there is no retirement age. You can work till you wish, till you are healthy. So these are some fundamental differences in PROUT as far as utility is concerned, our value is concerned. So with these few lines, I think, Srijati, want to say something or shall we close? Time is up. Your hand is raised, Srijati. Okay, I think. Yeah, Anubhuti, you want to say something? So kindly conclude.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes. Dada, I have also read that there would be no retirement age in PROUT, but it has been my personal observation. So the experience of the person matters with time, but it is seen that in some organizations, people who are at the retirement age, so they do not like to work for the organization. This has been a generalistic observation that I have seen in
it will be their wish. If they want, they can retire. It is wish based.
Okay.
Optional. It's only optional.
It is, Didi. It is optional.
If it's a choice, Dada, it is a choice. There is freedom.
Yeah.
And people always cherish freedom.
Yes.
and they go for better choice.
I
But
hope
if
you have done
you are
justice.
forced into it, nobody wants to.
But then, when one is being paid, so people these days also people take voluntary extension of the service after 60. So they they take
But that is
extension.
because of money, mostly because of they want to earn.
But
That should not be the criteria.
Mhm. That will not be in PROUT.
That should not be the criteria.
Proud believes in volunteerism.
That
Yes,
should not
here
be
comes the voluntarism. Yeah.
Volunteerism. Our culture is based on volunteerism,
Criteria should be to give you an experience.
not compulsion. See, today we are living in
If
compulsion.
your voice is breaking, Surjata.
Yes, yes.
So let us close the session here. I think we did justice by resource, utilization, wealth, value. We have discussed all the four headlines of the subject today. And let us meet next Saturday and let us go for meditation at the end for a minute before we close the session. So please join. Thank you.